watching 12 Sports tonight on 12+. I'm Lena Washington. We'll catch up with the rest of the 12 Sports crew in just a moment, but every Thursday night, come hang with us. We're talking all things Arizona sports, going to tell you the important stories that matter and introduce you to the people who inspire others in our community. This is 12 Sports Tonight, Arizona's original and longest-running sports show, streaming on 12+. Let's go.
2 7-footers in 2 minutes. 10 years ago to this day, Suns got the steal of the draft at Devin Booker. 10 years later, just feels like they found another one with the 10th overall pick. Selecting Duke center Kaman Malawach, his emotions. Best thing I saw tonight at the draft. Tears just flowing down the entire time. Remember, the reason he's rocking a Rockets cap is because that's the pick they got in trade for Kevin Durant. And that trade is not finalized to July 6th. Born in South Sudan, he went to NBA Africa Academy. So how did he fall in love with basketball at 14? Went to a camp and said, I saw a lot of tall people who were happy. And it feels like I just belong there. He's now 18 years old, and turn on the tape, he definitely belongs near a basket. 1 minute later, the Suns traded the 29th overall pick and a future first-round pick in 2029 to the Charlotte Hornets for 7-footer Mark Williams, also out of Duke. 23-year-old averaged 15 points and 10 boards last season. But in 3 years in the league, he is yet to play a full season. Duke can't stay healthy. Remember, this is the guy the Lakers almost traded for at the deadline, but Williams reportedly failed a physical.
You know, last year we were, I think, 27th in rim protection. Definitely a collective effort, a team effort to come out as successful as I think we did tonight.
I didn't think I was going to cry, but sometimes I let the emotions out, and I was so happy, and everything was just going through my head, my whole journey and my people and the continent I represent, the continent of Africa. I had beliefs. I believed in myself. I was delusional about my dreams, and no matter what the odds are against you, it shows that you can win.
Physically tough, great conditioning. So you know there's a work ethic there and an understanding of how the game is played now, and being able to run up and down the court and play with pace. There is a mental toughness there. When it comes to the pure toughness, all you got to do is watch one game, and you see his physicality. You see the fact that he's not afraid to lay bodies on guys when it comes to rebounding. We were not a very good rebounding team, offensively or defensively. There's got to be a physical aspect of that to be successful, and he definitely brings it.
He didn't really expect this kid to fall to them at 10 with the talent, his pedigree, but they needed to fill that role of a big man. Malawach, I mean, we were just watching and reacting. The way he emphatically swats a ball, he's heads above any other competitor.
Great
on the
hands
floor.
for a big guy, too.
They've already been keeping things active with their NBA draft plan in the year 2025. We saw it earlier this week with the Kevin Durant trade to acquire the 10th overall pick, and they kept that momentum going today, initially trading up to 36 and again moving up to 31. And they will be going with power forward Rasheer Fleming. The St. Joseph's big man can play center in small ball lineups if needed. This is a three-point shooter who can also defend really, really well. NBA insiders had him going in the first round, and if his talent wasn't enough, Scout thinks he has an elite motor with work ethic that will transfer in the NBA, right?
Calling it the biggest welcome in Arizona sports history.
You're getting one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
This is one of the teams always and one of the cities always respected.
KD straight away.
Purpose of being a human being is to be the greatest basketball player I could be.
Buys Durant for the win.
He's a living legend. I'm glad to be able to go to battle with him every time. I've been traded before. I moved teams before. Switched my whole situation up mid-season. You got to be prepared for anything in this league. It's nothing but love with this fan base. They always support. Crazy how life works.
KD's time in Phoenix just didn't work. 6 playoff wins in 2.5 years is proof. Now, it's not all KD's fault. We know this. Bad coaching hires, the roster poorly put together around him. Durant was, of course, entering the final year of his contract. Turns 37 in September. Suns coming off missing the playoffs for the first time in 4 years with the highest payroll in the NBA.
Here is the full trade and how it shakes out. This pushes the Suns over the second apron even more since they're actually taking on more money, meaning another deal likely coming down the road. The trade can't be finalized until July 6th. Now, the Suns get 2 starters from the Rockets. Jalen Green, a young, solid talent, athletic, aggressive scorer. He averaged a team-high 21 points and had a career year shooting the 3. His best years are ahead of him, though. He's only 23 years old. He was the 2nd overall pick in 2021. Before that, Green was the #1 recruit in the nation. He decided to skip college and go pro with the G League Ignite team. Now, Suns fans, y'all already know who Dillon Brooks is. Remember this? He's among the NBA's heels. He's gritty. He's a trash talker. He usually gets the toughest defensive assignment every game, and he knows how to irritate his opponents, as you see here. His bad boy attitude is something the Suns have been missing. The last time we saw him here in Phoenix, coincidentally, was KD's last game in a Suns jersey. And you see them barking at each other there. Brooks and KD, well, it's Brooks getting tossed in this one, as you see here in Phoenix.
Yeah, got into it with KD. So did the Suns win the trade, Lena, or did they get punked?
They started to look at trading Kevin Durant, Cam, as you know, back in February at the deadline. They were trying to get Jimmy Butler. They could move Kevin Durant to Golden State. They also had talks with Houston at that time. So they knew there was a lot of interest from the Houston Rockets, who at that time were willing to trade Jalen Green and Jabari Smith for Kevin Durant with no picks. Full circle, season ends. Suns had a bad year. They're going to trade Kevin Durant and move on. They open it up, 6 different teams. I think they did the best that they could have. It's hard to win a trade when you're trading one of the best players in the history of the game. But Durant wasn't impacting winning for the Phoenix Suns. He just wasn't. He was turning the ball over a lot, and he wasn't impacting their ability to win games. They get 2 starters from the Houston Rockets, the #2 seed in the West, that are both in their 20s. They get a top 10 pick this year. And they get 5 second-round picks that they could use as future assets to use in a possible trade. I'm not saying the Suns got to get an A+ or a B+ here, but I think they made a good deal. I don't think this is a bad deal for them.
So you don't think they got punked or fleeced in any other way? Just the leverage was out there. It was always going to be tough to trade Kevin Durant for what you gave up for him, right?
Sure. He's going to be 37 years old. The market is not there. The Spurs never made an offer. Toronto's offer was garbage. Miami's offer was garbage. Minnesota was going back and forth with a bunch of offers, and I think that they always had a good offer on the table. I like Jalen Green. Like, he's different than Book. He attacks the basket. He can score. He's not a great defender. 20 points per game he'll score. They've always liked Dillon Brooks. They tried to get him 5 years ago. So he's the alpha. He's the hard-nosed, I'm going to give you everything I got, tough son of a gun that they desperately needed. The 10th pick in the draft will be a good pick for them. They need young talent and assets. I'm not saying they won the deal, but I'm saying they didn't lose the deal.
Are they a better team now?
Yeah, I think so. Cam, I've already got a lunch bet with Bernsey that the Suns will be better next year than they were this year.
I'm with you. You and me against Bernsey. We got it.
Me and you. You agree.
I'll agree with you.
I think that they will have a better record. Now, it doesn't take a lot. They were 10 games under 500. Still a lot of work to be done. But I truly believe that the Phoenix Suns will have a better team this year than they did last year. I really believe that they will.
You look back at the KD era, what are you going to remember? Who's to blame? And what lessons did the Suns learn from that?
The lesson is not to build a super team with 3 players taking up all your salary cap and you're filling out your roster with Keita Bates-Diop and Yuta Watanabe and Chimezie Metu and Eric Gordon and a bunch of guys that can't play anymore. That was the mistake. The mistake was you gave up way too much to get Kevin Durant. The Kevin Durant era is just going to be seen as a failure. It didn't work. They went for it. You can't blame them for going for it. The problem was they weren't able to build a good enough team around KD. Not his fault, not Booker's fault. Failed coaching Mike Budenholzer. I blame Budenholzer. There wasn't enough depth and there wasn't enough talent around Devin Booker and Kevin Durant to make this work.
Do you trust the new regime?
I think you got to give it time. I think they did a really good job in the coaching search. This was Gregory's first big trade. I don't think he failed it. I don't think he aced it, but I think he made a good trade. I do think these guys deserve a chance to see what they could do in a rebuild/reset.
Man, I can't wait for Bernsey to buy us both lunch. We're going to get double sides.
Right. And he's in California now. He's in San Diego.
You're working and he's on the beach.
Do all this work and he's sitting on the beach drinking a pina colada. What is going on around here?
Back in 2023, the Suns gave up fan favorites, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, the Twins, Jay Crowder, 5 future first-round picks, all for Kevin Durant. Now, fast forward 2 and some odd years later, the Suns don't get anything close to what they lost, but this team now has the flexibility and the picks to retool the roster under new GM Brian Gregory.
Yeah, speaking of KD, here's a look back at KD's time in the Valley.
At forward, from Texas, 6'10", number 35, Kevin Durant.
A superstar rival in the middle of Super Bowl week. The biggest trade in Valley sports since Charles Barkley.
Hey, come on now, we got Kevin Durant in the Valley.
The first major move for new Suns owner Matt Ishbia.
I always love playing here in Phoenix.
The welcome matching the excitement.
It's pressure because I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
But real feelings for what the Suns gave up.
That was the spirit of our team with, having those twins.
Took a month for KD to hit the court. Then thanks to a pregame slip, KD's home debut delayed 10 minutes before tip. Durant playing in just 8 regular season games. The Suns went 8-0.
Shaking your head for it. Part of it. Greatness don't shake his head.
KD's first playoff run here, they beat the Clippers in 5 games before losing to the eventual champs, the Nuggets, in 6 games.
It's embarrassing. They came out and hit us in the mouth. We couldn't recover.
That offseason, they traded away DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul and assembled what was supposed to be the best Suns team ever.
That's the PHNX KD.
New Big Three, new coach, same average results. KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal only playing in 41 games together.
We was trying to figure out lineups on top of what's the best system for us.
And despite KD playing at an MVP level, the Suns were swept by the Timberwolves in the first round.
The narrative around the house is burning, it's incorrect. The Phoenix Suns are doing great.
Summer in Paris, KD and Book winning Olympic gold. That confidence coming back to Phoenix with another new coach.
Kevin's so good, and can we make it easier on him?
A 9-2 start quickly faded. By the All-Star break, the Suns were shopping KD behind his back.
Let's get this straight. I haven't been through this.
Becoming the 8th player to reach 30,000 career points, the only thing worth cheering about the second half of the season.
We get too small to the camera again.
The Big Three only played in 37 games together.
It's tough, man. Game, man. We didn't play our standards up to our standards at all. We embarrassed the fans.
The last sighting, hobbling off the court with an ankle injury, fittingly against the Rockets. KD would miss the final 7 games of the season. The Suns missed the playoffs, becoming the most expensive failure in NBA history. And 2.5 seasons after arriving in the Valley, the KD era is over. Why can't we have nice things in this city?
I don't know, but I'm tired of hearing the word fault and Kevin Durant in the same sentence because KD was the most professional, the most consistent,
always
the highest scoring of the Big Three, the most available. So he delivered all that he could here in Phoenix. He was always professional with us, the media, gave us his open and honest responses, played ball with us. So it's disappointing to see this end this way. It's part of the game. It's part of the business, but man, 35 in a PHX jersey is going to be unlike anything we'll probably see maybe in a long time here in the Valley.
Can I read you my blame list real quick?
Oh gosh, here we go.
I blame the Suns for giving up way too much for KD. I blame Monty for not making it work with DA. I blame the Suns for not getting a better backup point guard when Chris Paul was here. I blame the Suns for hiring back-to-back duds as head coaches and makeshift rosters behind KD and Book. I blame KD. This guy wants Batman respect, but Robin responsibilities. And
I was with you until the end. You had me
and
until
that kind of
final
defines his time here in Phoenix. They made him the guy. Everything went through him. His name is on the door, Lena. When your name is on the front door and you're the guy and it doesn't work, the blame starts with him. And the performance-wise, sure, he put up numbers, but the Suns didn't win. It was like DA all those years ago. Put up double-doubles, but it didn't impact them winning. That was the biggest thing. His impact on this team winning was not there.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I, again, think he was the most consistent, the most available, the most vocal in the locker room, perhaps, the most experienced. He's been there before. He's seen it all. And now we're seeing Kevin Durant move on to Houston. We'll see him here in Phoenix a couple times a year.
We will. I just hope the Suns learn their lessons.
We'll find out.
I think he has probably one of the best first steps I've ever seen in the NBA. One of the best athletes I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes.
Mike Guevara was Jalen's trainer. Their work together likely over because of the trade, but he said they spoke right before it happened.
I'm making my calls like, hey, let me see where Jay's mind is at and see what he has in store for this summer. And he had so much fire.
Mike said Jalen was ready to make a jump.
An extremely different perspective that I've never seen from him about how serious he wanted to take this offseason. He said, I want to be accountable. I want to be held accountable for anything and everything.
How should Suns fans feel right now? Is there hope that this team will be better this coming season?
I think there is, or at least that this team will be scrappier and have more of an identity than what we saw from last year's talented but pretty aimless team. They've got 4 picks picks in this year's draft, which is exciting if you're looking for the team to get younger and more athletic. They've got, positions of need up and down the board. They are going to be targeting bigs and plus size wings in that 6'9", 6'8" range. And I think their goal is to leave the draft with 2 to 3 players that they feel confident will make the roster for the upcoming season. Even though it hurts, losing Kevin Durant, taking a step backward, there's always excitement when you look at the youth and some of the rookies that could be coming in.
Do you trust the new regime, Gerald? Jordan Ott, Brian Gregory?
It's a great question. I don't know yet. I think Jordan Ott's going to be a great coach. I think Brian Gregory, we still have to see more, and especially in terms of how he drafts, since this is going to be his first draft as a GM. The Suns gave him a lot of credit for being behind the drafting of Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. So we're going to see if he can carry that momentum forward into this draft in a draft where they have 4 picks to utilize. And we're just going to have to see waiting forward. I don't want to judge Brian Gregory just yet on a Kevin Durant trade that, let's be honest, the Suns were never going to win. So I'm excited to see what's coming from the new regime. And at that point, I'll be able to give you a better answer on how much I trust them.
Bradley Beal be on this team next year?
I'd be surprised if he was. I think the writing is kind of on the wall with the Jalen Green trade, bringing in a guy to kind of put ahead of him as Book's new backcourt partner. I have heard from sources the Suns are high on that fit. I would be surprised if he's still on the roster. I think benching him midway through the season kind of gave him a signal of how they feel about him and his future here. And so now it's just a matter of figuring out, okay, can we find someone that would be willing to trade for him? Will we finally present him with a trade package that he can either veto or not with that no trade clause of his? And I think for Beal, if you are kind of reading the tea leaves, you understand that if I stay here in Phoenix, I'm not going to get the role or the minutes that I kind of envisioned when I first came here. So I think he might be more open to leaving than people might think.
Baseball fans today, and especially sports fans, we all kind of saw the incident with Ketel Marte last night. We're going to show it to you here in just a few moments. The fan heckling him about his late mother who passed away in 2017. Situations like this, it's always cool to see how sports responds, and that's what we got today. I really love sports, and I really love when sports uplift situations, guys, when teams, fans, and communities rally together for like the good of people, like a collective. We got your back, Ketel Marte. A very classy move by the White Sox. Video message on the board. Late last night, of course, Marte brought the tears on the field after a fan yelled something at him about his mother, who tragically passed away in a car accident in 2017. Baseball fans showing their support since the incident. I love this. D-backs, their foundation, has been receiving donations in honor of Ketel's late mother. As of 3:30, nearly 400 donations, totaling more than $12,000 in Ketel's mom's name. The fan has been banned from every ballpark indefinitely. Well done, Major League Baseball. In a source telling 12 Sports, the 22-year-old fan was very apologetic and remorseful afterwards and admitted the comments were inappropriate and stupid. Here's D-backs manager Torey Lovullo before today's game.
We had a text exchange before I went to sleep last night. It seemed like he was in a better place. So, we're waking up today and we're grateful for the support that the baseball world and community and the fans of Arizona have given us. The Chicago White Sox as well. They've been very supportive, and we're ready to move on. And I think that's the best thing for everybody.
They have banned the kid.
Yeah.
You all right with that?
Yeah, I am, to be honest with you. I had a little bit of an interaction with him as I was yelling at him, and he wasn't getting it, and was very pompous, and it didn't sit right with me. We need better baseball fans. Baseball deserves better.
I definitely agree with Torey. Those images of Ketel, like even a day after, so much pain. It's still hard to fathom. Like, listen, I know fans feel sometimes when they buy a ticket, they can say whatever they want, but the reality is they just can't.
Yeah, you can't. Look, you can root for your team. Yeah. You can even boo the other side.
Yeah, sure, we've done that.
But come on, you talk about a guy's deceased mother, that crosses a line.
It crosses the line. It was great to see the response from fans on social media, from both communities, the White Sox and the D-backs. Class act by the White Sox. Baseball jumped right into it. The White Sox kicked the fan out right away, banned him from their games, and then today, of course, Major League Baseball doing that across the board. Like, it's the right action to take because it's unacceptable. And props to Torey Lovullo, standing up for his guy. Stand for Marte is the hashtag that's been kind of going viral on social media. Can't wait to receive the reception Marte gets Friday night when he steps up to the batter's box. when they return home to host the Marlins. You can watch that game, by the way, for free and in primetime right here on 12 News. Live coverage from Chase Field begins at 3 o'clock with D-backs on deck. As for the game, not great for the D-backs. They lost to the terrible White Sox 7-3. Still win the series. What in the world is wrong with Zac Gallen? Just another awful outing. Gallen has given up at least 4 runs in 8 of the past 9 starts. He is on track to have his worst career ERA ever. It's like approaching 6 that bad. Gallen, by the way, going to be a free agent after this season. His name, no surprise, linked to a bunch of trade talks.
Zac Gallen, the Milkman, teamed up with St. Mary's Food Bank this morning, donating 2,300 gallons of milk, making sure children in the valley get their protein. Milk is the #1 thing parents request when they show up to the food bank. Sometimes it's in short supply, so now they have gallons on gallons, thanks to Zac Gallen.
Of all the things that get donated or that neighbors want when they come to the food bank, milk is the #1 item. Because it's protein, because it's good for the kids, it's what they always ask for, and we don't always have it. So that's why this 2,300-gallon donation is so valuable. Zac and the Diamondbacks have been great supporters of the food bank. They help us raise money and raise food throughout the year. It's just great to have the most prominent team in Arizona supporting the food bank.
You'll never forget your first, especially when your first took you from worst to first.
And in the National League West, the buck stops here.
The Buck Showalter Diamondbacks were showstoppers, an expansion team that in year 2 did not act its age.
As you get older, you need a memory. We're going to need memories more and more, and tonight's a good example of that.
Showalter was Arizona's first manager. Growing pains in '98 led to massive gains in '99. The D-backs won 100 games and won the NL West. Apparently, time flies when you're having fun.
We used to call it the Bob, but I'm not, what is it, Chase Field now?
Buck wants to know where all the time is gone.
Places you remember as new being a little bit dated.
Showalter is into the semi-retired chapter of his baseball book. He managed 5 different teams over 22 seasons, and now is a part-time analyst for MLB Network. His perch on set a bit more comfortable than the hot seat he faced in this very building.
We all understand the shelf life of managers. You can win a world championship or 100 games and be down the highway the next year.
Showalter was shown the door after his 3rd year with the D-backs. The team stumbled to 85 wins, and ownership wanted a fresh face. Buck says he doesn't have any ill will.
Nobody said it was going to be fair, and I don't live in that world. You know, I've been too lucky to have spent this much time in a great game with good people.
Showalter says among those people is one of his successors.
If it can be figured out, Torey and his staff will.
And with firsthand experience of how a town can turn on you fast, Buck went to bat for the Snakes' current skipper.
I think he's got a grip on reality, and he's calm. He understands there's the line between sympathy and empathy.
But with fans growing frustrated from the season-long slump, their sympathy is shrinking and their empathy non-existent. Buck says Torey should buck that outside noise.
That's the nature of the beast. You stay off all the different social medias. You just got to keep in mind that a lot of the people really don't know what they're talking about. So it's okay if you put them in there and ask them to make the decision that Torey has to every night. It would be pretty ugly to watch.
Words of wisdom from someone who's been around the baseball block. Buck will always be the D-backs first. He's hoping they don't move on to the next.
It's good to see someone last that long because you're not going to do much better.
That will do it for us here this week. Thank you so much for watching 12 Sports tonight on 12+. Catch us here next Thursday, same time, same place, and get the best sports coverage in town on Arizona Sports Station, morning, noon, and night, right here on 12 News. And if you miss us, head over to 12news.com, our 12 News YouTube page, or join us right here on 12+ on your TVs. I'm Lena Washington. We'll see you back here Sunday night at 10:30 for 12 Sports Tonight.